Spooky Interviews from Spooky Ventures. This edition, Brandon Vaughn of Raven Chronicles. You have a new album of spooky music available. What can you tell the viewers about that?
Hi, I'm Brandon Vaughn. I created Raven Chronicles to enable me to pull together my love of instrumental music, my love of paranormal topics, and also a little bit of progressive rock music. I've always been a fan of paranormal things, and I wanted to create my own version of spooky music. Somewhat like Midnight Syndicate, Dark Sanctuary. There's a lot of these types of artists out there like that. My goal was to create more of a concept album approach to the music. So for example, the first album is called A Ghost Story, and it revolves around a woman who dies and becomes a ghost, except that she doesn't know that she's a ghost. And the entire album is her journey as she discovers this, and then she has to deal with her demons in order to be able to cross over at the very end. So it's very much meant to be an entire concept, to be listened to entirely, although you can listen to any song that you like because it is instrumental. Occasionally you'll see that I have, or hear that I have words in the songs that are meant to convey emotions and different things like that. You can hear Raven Chronicles in a lot of different venues. I'm on Apple and Spotify and Amazon. I'm on YouTube. You can search for me. Just search for Raven Chronicles. You can also go to ravenchronicles.hearnow.com, and that'll give you all the links, and you can hear some samples of my music from there.
How do you go about creating a spooky vibe?
So how I go about creating spooky music or a spooky vibe to it, I do have some classical training in music. I've been a musician for most of my life since I was just a wee little one. Take a lot of inspiration from that, a lot of inspiration from modern soundtrack, people like Danny Elfman, Hans Zimmer, and that kind of all comes together along with my rock background. But honestly, what happens when I create these songs is in my head, I have this movie going on of these characters. Like I said in the previous question, I'm creating a concept album. So I'm not just creating a song about something, but I'm creating a journey that this character is going through. So in my mind, I visualize that character. I see them going through the different stages, and then I start basically creating a soundtrack to a movie that exists in my head. And that's basically how I do that. So as I'm thinking about this person going through this journey, it creates a particular vibe for me, and that's what creates the spooky music in my head.
Do you produce any other forms of spooky work outside of music?
So I do have other spooky works outside of music. One of them is a brand new music video. I've been trying to create a music video for my album, and I have one for the second track called Restless Wonder. And you can find that on YouTube. You can search for it. Maybe there'll be a link provided for this, and I'll show you just a clip of it. I won't play the entire song, but I will walk you through what this is. So let's do that now. I'll show you a little bit of this. So basically what this song is it's the second track in the album. And we're being introduced to the character. And the title of the song is called Restless Wonder because this lady has died. She has become a ghost, but she's wandering through life. She doesn't realize that she is a ghost yet. What this particular clip, which is from an old 1920 public domain documentary that I got this from, this lady is starting to realize that she doesn't really exist. She has these weird feelings about what's happening to me. Why does it seem like I feel weird? Nobody seems to notice me. And you can see this in this track, and this is what this album is all about. This is her journey. This is the beginning point of her journey. So I'm going to shut up for just a few seconds and let you hear a little bit, watch a little bit of this video as it's playing right now. So I hope that you will go see this. And it's called, again, Restless Wonder. It's the second track off the album. And you can search for that, Restless Wonder, Raven Chronicles on YouTube. Should pull right up. Maybe there'll be a link as well for this. So that's one of the other forms of spooky work that I'm involved in. I'm creating a second video right now over what is that I'm doing? Dream Within a Dream. And that was going to be my first one, but it's a 7-minute song, so it's taking me a little bit longer to do. But that's coming up pretty soon.
What do you have in the works now?
So what is in the works now for me? Well, besides the music videos, I am wrapping up my second Raven Chronicles album. When I started writing this album, I was going to switch topics and create more of a monster theme, like a werewolf type of thing. But I started sensing that the album had kind of a ghost feel to it. So it is called right now The Haunting of Briarwood Manor. And it's going to be the second album. And this also revolves around a ghost, but the story's a little bit different because what we have in this story is not only a person being haunted by a ghost, but there are other ghosts that are being influenced and manipulated by a malevolent spirit. So what happens is that in the very end, the ghost from the first album, A Ghost Story, shows up to help these other spirits out and to overcome this malevolent spirit so that they can finally break free. That is the second album. Should be released pretty soon, close to Halloween, and you may want to go look for that on any place that you like listening to music.
Do you remember when you first became fascinated with the horror genre or spooky things in general?
Well, I became fascinated with the spooky things in general. I think when I was a little child, my aunt would tell stories, especially my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother used to rock on the porch and smoke a cigarette. And my aunt swears that the day that she died, that night it was very windy and she saw the rocker rocking back and forth. She thought that it might be the wind. She went outside to investigate, found out there was no wind on the porch, and she was barefoot and she put her foot on a lit cigarette. It was like my great-grandmother had been there rocking and smoking a cigarette even though that she had died. I thought that was a fascinating story, and ever since then I've been interested in the paranormal. I love watching ghost movies, ghost documentaries, the investigators that you see on TV. I've done my own investigations at times, and now I'm writing music that accompanies this. Won't always write instrumental music about ghosts. It does seem to be a popular topic for me, but I'm planning on including a lot of other things in the horror genre as well.
Do you have a favorite medium, be that print or film or other, for horror?
Besides music, I would say my favorite medium for horror is film. I'm a visual person, and like I said, when I create my music, I'm running this film in my mind as I'm creating it. So I love film. I do enjoy reading as well, but I love a good horror film, a ghost story film. And pretty much anything that's been out in the last 10, 20 years, I've probably have seen and mostly enjoy.
Who are some of your favorite horror creators?
One of my favorite creators is John Carpenter. Really love his stuff, mostly because he can develop things that are not just creepy, but he adds that musical element to it. And I love his music and things like Halloween, just so incredible and just spooky in general. I do like a lot of the modern filmmakers, the Conjuring, Insidious creators. I like the guy that's doing the Twilight Zone episodes that did the Us film, which I thought was interesting as well. So I do like a lot of the modern people that are creating things, like the modern composers as well. I hope maybe one day someone will give me the break and I'll be able to create a soundtrack to something that will be in the theaters at some point.
What are some of your favorite horror books?
I like a lot of the old things, Edgar Allan Poe for horror books. I always like Stephen King, more modern times. Those have always been my favorite, but I do tend to gravitate towards some of the older stuff. I find it to be incredibly creepy that they could say such amazing things in such short terms and poems. And you'll hear a lot of those being spoken at times on my album because they really affect me and still creep me out to this day. And I love putting them into my music still.
What about your favorite horror movies?
My favorite movies do tend to be paranormal. I like pretty much all in the horror genre. I'm a subscriber to the Shudder channel, and I even look at the Ghoul Log at times, which is just the pumpkin sitting there in the background with the wind blowing. I like all of this, but paranormal definitely is my favorite genre to watch. The Haunting of Hill House, that was on Netflix, love that. I love watching Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Brothers. I mean, I watch just about everything that's out there. My favorite movies definitely are the Insidious movies and the Conjuring movies. Those were amazing to me and still haven't found much better than that. Sometimes they deal with ghosts, sometimes they deal with possessions type of things, but the ghost things are definitely the things. The others with Nicole Kidman was great. The Sixth Sense, M. Night Shyamalan's movies in general. I mean, I like a lot of those types of things. I'm a movie buff. I would love, again, like I said earlier, to have a chance to where I can create a soundtrack for a movie. That would be amazing to me. I hope that's something I can realize in the future.
We can't live by spooky alone. What other things captivate your interests?
So what other things captivate my interest? Well, I am a rock musician. I have a other band that I just released a new album called Kairis, Kairis, which was named after my daughter. And I also am doing just straight instrumental music and going to create a progressive rock album in the future. Besides that, I like movies, not just horror movies, but movies in general, superhero movies and sentimental movies. Like watching sports, basketball, football. I'm kind of a normal guy when it comes to things like that. But those are the big things. I love reading books and trying to improve myself and provide hacks for my life when it comes to sleep or work or anything like that. Those are some of the things I really enjoy.
Have you created works in other areas beyond horror, spooky territory?
Yes, I have created other works. As I mentioned, I have another rock band that's brand new called Tie-Dye Train. You see I'm in a tie-dye shirt. If I'm not wearing spooky clothes, I'm kind of wearing spooky tie-dye shirts. Tie-Dye Train is the name of that album. And working on a progressive rock album, been working on that for years now. And working on some music videos, trying to get the word out for Raven Chronicles. It is my favorite thing to do. If I could do nothing but Raven Chronicles 24/7, I definitely would do it. So if you would like it, help me spread the word and tell people about some cool, spooky music. And I would love to do that. Maybe even do a concert with Midnight Syndicate at some point. Help score a movie, spooky movie, Conjuring Part 5 or something like that would be pretty cool. But those are some of the areas I also like writing. I hope to write a book someday and hope to maybe even do some paranormal investigations at some point.
If you could sit down to dinner with any three people, living or dead, with whom would you be dining and what would be on the menu?
Three people I would sit down with dinner. I definitely would invite Paul McCartney. Always been a fan of the Beatles. Paul McCartney has been an influence on me for many, many years. You can hear some of his stuff, his influence, even in my music. There was a teacher who died several years ago called Wayne Dyer. I've always been influenced and helped by Wayne. I would have loved to have met him, and that would be a tremendous thing. And I also loved Steve Irwin, who was the crocodile hunter. I loved his passion, and I love how he embraced life, and this is something I try to bring even into my music. That's only three. I definitely can meet a spooky composer like Danny Elfman or John Carpenter would be pretty cool. I think on the menu would just be some really cool holiday treats. I wouldn't want to spook out Steve or Wayne too much by having bloody cupcakes or something. So maybe something even, just basic meal-wise would be pretty cool to have. But those would be some amazing people that I would love to meet and to hang out with. And if ghosts are real, who knows? Maybe I'll have a future dinner with Wayne or Steve pretty soon. That would be pretty cool.
What else would you like the viewers to know about that we haven't touched on in this interview?
The only other thing I would love for your viewers to know is that I am brand new. I don't have many fans, and anything you can do if you like my music to help spread the word, I would love it. I'm not very good at social media. I'm so busy. I would rather create music than to spend hours trying to do advertising and making posts and things like that. If you like that kind of stuff, contact me because, man, I could definitely use you and use your help. But anything you can do just to let people know. I'm on Spotify. If you have a playlist, I would love if you would put me on your playlist. If you would share my YouTube video. I'm not really in this for the money. I really want to create this music that resonates inside of me. I want to get it out. Wayne Dyer used to say, don't die with your music still inside you. And he meant music in general. Anything could be your music. Mine is real music, and I want to get it out. I don't really care if I become rich, famous off of this. I just want to have fans. I want people that really like my music and it resonates with them. And I want to let them know there's people out there that really would like, I think, some of the things I create. It's not for everyone, but I would love if you like it, that you would let other people know. Help me spread the word. And look me up on Facebook. Look me up anywhere I'm around. I would love to hear from you. Love to know what you like, what you maybe would like me to record in the future, thematically. New themes, new stories. That would be great. Remember, I have a general site, ravenchronicles.herenow.com, which gives you a link to all my music. You can go and find it. Look me up on Facebook, Raven Chronicles on Facebook. And I would love to talk to you. Really would. I would love to meet people that like my music. That would be so incredibly cool. But until then, stay spooky. Thanks.
Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.